Today, Erev Shabbos Parshas Devarim, which is also Erev Shabbos Chazoin, is also Ches Av, which in a regular year today would be Erev Tisha B'Av of the Tainus. This afternoon would be already after Chatzos of Erev Tisha B'Av, and we'd be fasting tonight, tomorrow. However, it's Shabbos, so it's a Nidcha. The fast is pushed off to Motzei Shabbos to Sunday. Since tonight, tomorrow is the day of Tisha B'Av, and this afternoon is already Erev Tisha B'Av, is Mavur in the Sefer Aparnis, a Rishain. The Beis Yosef brings him. He was a Talmud of the Maram Rothenburg. That when a person showers himself today, L'Kavod Shabbos, he should do it Samach La'achnosas Kala, which means he should do it closer to Shabbos. Why? Since really this afternoon already is Erev Tisha B'Av after Chatzos, and if you're already taking a shower, you should do it Samach closer to Shabbos, so it shows that you're doing a L'Kavod Shabbos. What's the mile of L'Kavod Shabbos? Just like there's an Isser of Basar V'Yayim, but if you do it L'Tzorech Mitzvah, Bris, or anything else, there's a Tzorech Mitzvah, it's Mutter. So this is kind of it's a Rechitza Shal Mitzvah, but to show it's a Rechitza Shal Mitzvah, then maybe you should do it closer to Shabbos. L'chayri doesn't just mean doing it after Chatzos, but rather you should do it close to Shabbos. The Beis Yosef, when he brings this Sefer Aparnis, does not refer in particular to this year that Erev Shabbos Chazoin is Erev Tisha B'Av, but he speaks about every single year, every Shabbos Chazoin, when a person takes a shower, L'Kavod Shabbos, he should do it Samach to Shabbos, to do it L'Kavod Shabbos. The Darkei Moshe as well, when he brings this thing, brings it also on every Shabbos Chazoin. Again, the Parnas, when he speaks, he's speaking about a Shabbos like this year, that Erev Shabbos Chazoin is Erev Tisha B'Av. But the Beis Yosef and the Darkei Moshe, the Ramah, say on every single Erev Shabbos Chazoin, you should do it closer to Shabbos. Don't do it 2 o'clock in the afternoon, do it somewhat closer to Shabbos. L'maisa, this halacha, the Beis Yosef, when he wrote the Shulchan Aruch, as well as the Darkei Moshe, the Ramah, they don't bring this halacha. They don't bring that if you're roichetz, you should do it close to Shabbos. Me'idach, the Levush does bring the din. The Levush says that if a person's roichetz Erev Shabbos, he should be roichetz Erev Shabbos Chazoin, he should do it closer to Shabbos. What is, however, yes negeya for a week like this week, again, we mentioned the Sefer Aparnis says a week particular like this week, one should bedafka do it closer to Shabbos, because today is really, at least in the afternoon, is already a Chomer Diga day. It's Erev Shabbos after Chatzos. So you should do it closer to Shabbos. Me'idach, the Pri Megadim. The Pri Megadim and Mishpat Zov, which is going on the Taz. We mentioned it last week. The Taz says that the whole Isser Rechitza of Erev Shabbos Chazoin is only Otu Erev Shabbos Chazoin of this year. Because Erev Shabbos Chazoin of this year is Erev Tisha B'Av, so Mela, even on a regular year, Erev Shabbos Chazoin, it's Aser. But says the Pri Megadim, a year like this year, which is brought also in the Bir Halacha, this thing, that a person should rather shower this morning. Today, Erev Tisha B'Av, the Pri Megadim, Bir Halacha brings it. A person should take a shower earlier this morning rather than after Chatzos. Why? Because after Chatzos is already, it's after Chatzos of Erev Tisha B'Av, the Pri Megadim, Bi Halacha brings the Halacha, a person should rather do it this morning. A person should shower this morning for Shabbos. L'maisa, the Shmir Shabbos Kilchasai asks on this Pri Megadim, and he says, true, what the Pri Megadim says, that a Shabbos like this Shabbos, a person should bathe himself this morning, but you find that it's more Kavod Shabbos, before more Kavod Shabbos, he says, Lo Matzinu, that there should be a difference between before Chatzos and after Chatzos in regard to one bathing themselves. We'll see soon is chilukim between before and after Chatzos and other dinim, But when it comes to a person taking a shower, there is no difference between before chatzos and after chatzos. So therefore, why does the Pri Megadim say you should rather take a shower this morning than this afternoon? There's no reason to take this morning. And adarabba, there's actually a maila for one to take a shower later on after chatzos. We find in the Ramah and Hilchos Shabbos, the Ramah says that a person should shower closer to Shabbos, because there's a halacha, after you shower for Shabbos, you put on your big day Shabbos. And Mamela, and a person puts on his big day Shabbos closer to Shabbos. So therefore, Mamela, you should shower close to Shabbos also. So like this, you'll also put your clothing on before Shabbos. Put your clothing on right after you wash yourself. And in Matei Moshe's Mavur more, that the reason why a person should shower himself closer to Shabbos is because when a person showers himself, the few hours afterwards, that's when a person has the einig, the enjoyment of the shower. So therefore, if you take it Friday afternoon, it comes Friday night, you have the enjoyment of being clean. So therefore, what the Pri Megadim and the Bialacha brings the Pri Megadim say that a person should shower themselves today, Erev Shabbos Chazoin, which is Erev Tisha B'Av in the morning. Adarabba, it's even a maila, you should rather do it this afternoon. So we really have a machlokes to sum it all up very clearly. The Sefer Aparna says that a person should shower this afternoon close to Shabbos, particularly a year like this year. The Pri Megadim says, he doesn't argue on the Rishon, but he goes based off the Yesod of a Taz of a Bach. The Pri Megadim says that one should rather shower herself shower this morning. L'maisa, in this machlokes, even though it's a machlokes hapaiskim lahalacha, the Shevet HaLevi says that the minig is not like the Pri Megadim, and therefore to take this afternoon. The Shura Sadin and the Shulchan Aruch, the Ramah says not to be roichet, not the 9 days, and not Erev Shabbos. But if you are taking a shower, however the shower is taken, that we're not going to speak about, that's relevant to every year. But if you're taking, as we see these machlokes this year, in the morning or the afternoon, and la halacha, the minig is that if you take Erev Shabbos in the afternoon like regular.
Is it hot water?
We'll speak about it afterwards. No, that's a shaila in general. There's a lot to cover, but that's a good shaila. What type of shower? That's a shaila in general. Some say a little bit more, a lot more. The Mishnah Berurah says somebody who's noig every single week could do Panav Yad V'Raglov. In Rabbi Eider's book, he brings B'Shem, he heard from Rav Moshe, Dayosh and Nachmer the whole week, not Erev Shabbos, so it would seem you could take a regular shower. But it's very well asked, and that we'll leave on the side. That's a discussion for itself, what type of shower. We were just speaking about what time to take the shower. Next pointer is about cutting the nails. Last week we said there's a machlokes, the Taz and the Magen Avram, about cutting one's nails only Shavua Shechal B'Ai. Meaning to say is last week was not Shavua Shechal B'Ai, it's mutter. We had a different issue that it was Rosh Chodesh. This week, which we're going to see soon, it's a shaila at Shavua Shechal B'Ai. Technically, if it's Shavua Shechal B'Ai, this whole week was aser to cut nails, Lafi the Shita that you're not allowed to cut Shavua Shechal B'Ai. Says the Mishnah Berurah, Siv Kat in Chaf, that Afal Pikein, since it's Erev Shabbos, and Erev Shabbos L'Kavat Shabbos, even if it's Shavua Shechal B'Ai, today one's allowed to cut your nail. You're allowed to cut your nails. So last week, after the morning shear, if somebody didn't cut his nails because it was Rosh Chodesh and you wanted to be makbid Rabbi Yehuda Chassan this whole week, also one didn't cut his nails because of Shavua Shechal B'Ai, today you can cut your nails to cover Shabbos. However, that's the Mishnah Berurah and that's the din. The Hachaim says that it's mutter l'misha ragel. Somebody that does it regularly is allowed to do it this week also. Again, the Mishnah Berurah says it's mutter. Hachaim says l'misha ragel. What's the concept of l'misha ragel? The Mishnah Berurah says when Lagabe going to the mikveh today, which is also if somebody goes every single Erev Shabbos to the mikveh, you're allowed to go this Erev Shabbos to the mikveh as well. So the Mishnah Berurah says l'misha ragel bekach means as opposed to if somebody misses a mikveh b'pnei tirdas asakov, he got busy. He was busy with business, and he missed it. We're not blaming him, but if a person misses it, if he got busy, let's say the mikveh was cold, so he didn't go. If somebody misses it for these reasons, then he cannot go Erev Shabbos Chazayin to the mikveh. The Eshel Avram, the Bechucha says that a little bit. Other words, he says that if a person misses only machmas oynis, or he forgets such type of things, then it's not considered missing. But the concept here that if a person does it regularly, which we said the Hachaim says by nails, means that a person does it on a regular basis. If a person misses different weeks because he just gets busy, so sometimes that would be something that's not called regularly and will not be able to do it. Again, Mi'idach, the Mishnah Berurah seems to say clearly that a person can cut his nails the Shabbos, the covered Shabbos, even if it's Shavuot Shechalbay. Tayamel, we mentioned already last week, Tayamel, it's also to eat a regular full Tayamel. However, to taste the foods, to make sure that they're good for Shabbos, we saw if you're allowed to swallow or not is a machloikis, that little bit. To eat a regular portion of Tayamel is aser, but to taste a little bit of the food, to taste it, do you have to spit it out or to swallow is the machloikis. This is all up until Shabbos. We spoke about Shabbos, bathing today, cutting your nails, Tayamel. Now we're going to move into Shabbos. Shabbos, which tonight is Tisha B'Av, the day Tes Av. The fast is obviously Matzah Shabbos Sunday. These are Machloikis Machaber Ramah. If Dvorim Shebetzina are Noyig Shabbos. The Lashon HaMachaber, Imchal Tisha B'Av B'Shabbos, Mutter B'Kulan. Everything is mutter, afilu b'tash v'shamita, everything is mutter. Which means from the Machaber, everything is mutter because Tisha B'Av literally gets pushed off to Sunday. Matzah Shabbos, Sunday is Tisha B'Av. Shabbos is a regular day, it's a day of the 9 days, which we'll see maybe other things, but it's maybe even nothing. But the Machaber says Tisha B'Av is Sunday, which really would come out that Lefi the Machaber, Tisha B'Av is Sunday, there is no Shavuot Shechalbay. We had a big discussion about this in previous years, literally to go in a whole shaila if there is Shavuot Shechalbay. We're not going to go into this year, but the Machaber says Tisha B'Av gets pushed off to Sunday. No dinei Tisha B'Av are noyig on Shabbos. The Idach, the Ramah says Hagav v'yesh oisrim dvarim shebetzina v'chein noyagim lahachmir that dvarim shebetzina are noyig on Shabbos. Says the Mishnah Berurah, since the Ramah says that dvarim shebetzina are noyig, because these avelis betzina are other Rahman al-Islam that has Shiva, so Shabbos, the Shiva goes through Shabbos as well, but only dvarim shebetzina are noyig. Dvarim shebetzina, a person is not allowed to be noyig avelis on Shabbos, but for Hesya, dvarim shebetzina. So therefore, says the Mishnah Berurah, but dvarim shebetzina are noyig, a person should not wash his hands with warm water on Shabbos. We're talking about in a way that he could get the warm water ba'if and heter. Not talking about turning on the sink. A Shabbos shayla, you have hot water, and you want to wash your hands with hot water on Shabbos. Since on Tisha B'Av there's an Isser Rechitza, and this is a davar shebetzina, which means people are not going to tell. It's not like you're sitting on the floor, so you're not going to be roiches with hot water. So therefore, says the Mishnah Berurah, since Lefida Ramah dvarim shebetzina noyig, so this Shabbos, another thing that would be noyig is a person should not wash his hands with hot water. What's about cold water? We're talking about to wash yourself, not l'tzorech lichluch, because that's mutter even on Tisha B'Av. But what's about cold water? So I would have thought the reason why it's mutter to do cold water is because if you wash your hands, let's say up until here with cold water, isn't that called the davar shebefahesya? You make sure nobody sees. L'chayr, that's a davar shebefahesya. The Minchas Chinuch says the reason why there is no isser on Shabbos for one to wash his hands with cold water, says the Minchas Chinuch like this. There are 5 Yinuyim on Tisha B'Av, which are the same 5 Yinuyim of Yom Kippur. Yom Kippur, why are there the 5 Inuyim? Because the Torah says he's a din Inui ve'enisem es nafshay seichem. This is a din Inui. However, Tisha B'Av, besides the din Inui, which that also the Hachaim will masakin a din Inui, tainus ve'inui, there's also a din Avelis. It's a din Avelis. For 2 reasons we have the 5 Isurim on Tisha B'Av. These are din Inui and din Avelis. The Avelis gives us other dinim also, but we do it for 2 reasons, Inui and Avelis. Says the Minchas Chinuch, this Shabbos, the Inui and Avelis gets pushed off to Sunday. I'm sorry, the Inui and Tainus. The Inui and Tainus gets pushed off to Sunday. But the Avelis is still noyig on Shabbos Betzina. The Inui, we don't fast on Shabbos, we fast Sunday. The Inui gets pushed off, the Avelis, the Tainus and the Inui gets pushed off to Sunday. The Avelis Betzina is noyig on Shabbos. Therefore, hot water is medin Avelis, so therefore it's aser on Shabbos, Lafi the Ramah, that Dvarim Shebetzina are noyig. However, cold water is not medin Avelis. Cold water is medin Inui. Inui is pushed off to Sunday, so therefore one can rinse himself with cold water. So we have a machlokes machaber Ramah if Shabbos, this Shabbos, are the dine Avelis noyig, betzina. The Machaber says no, the Ramah says the minig is lahachber, and therefore it's negay also for one to wash hands with hot water. Cold water is mutter. Learning the Shabbos. The Ramah The Ramah at the end of Taf Kuf Nun Gimel, Lashon HaRamah, v'noagu shaloi lilmoid be'erev Tisha B'Av v'chatzos ve'elach ki midvar marab, we're noyig not to learn Erev Tisha B'Av after chatzos. That's on a regular year. Says the Ramah, u'lechein imchal b'Shabbos, not a year like this year, but if Erev Tisha B'Av falls out on Shabbos, I think it's going to fall in 2 years from now. If Erev Tisha B'Av if Erev Pesach Shechali is b'Shabbos, it's also Erev Tisha B'Av Shechali is b'Shabbos. If Shabbos is Erev Tisha B'Av, says the Ramah, we're noyig not to learn mechatzos ve'elach. So the Ramah says that's on a year when tomorrow is going to be Erev Tisha B'Av. Says the Mishnah Brura, it's a kolshkin, a year like this year, that it's Tisha B'Av itself, not to learn mechatzos ve'elach.
Should we learn on Tisha B'Av?
What did you say?
When can you learn on Tisha B'Av?
No, Lamaisa, the whole Tisha B'Av is noig. We'll get to maybe after Tisha B'Av. Tisha B'Av itself has its regular dinam, mitzad the dine avelis as regular, but Shabbos, which is Tisha B'Av, the Ramah says not to learn mechatzos ve'elach. It's interesting. The Magen Avram says clearly not to learn the whole Shabbos. As we mentioned before, the whole Shabbos is Tisha B'Av. And not to learn Medina Avelis, because a person learns, it makes him happy. The Magen Avram, as well as the Kitzur Shulchan Aruch, say not to learn the whole Shabbos. And that was actually the minig by some. I heard this week somebody told me that the Satmar Rebbe, the Divrei Yoel, did not say Torah Friday night. He didn't learn the whole Shabbos. There's a machlokes. The Magen Avram says not to learn the whole Shabbos. The Ramah, the Taz, says not to learn Mechatzos Ve'elach. Now, even the whole not learning mechatzos ve'elach is even a shayl even during the week. The Biur Halacha speaks about it, and the Taz himself says that somebody who learns after chatzos, at least Shabbos, is lehifsitz charay. It's okay to learn. So we really have a machlokes over here. The Magen Avram says not to learn the whole Shabbos. The Ramah, how the poskim understand, would say not to learn from chatzos. The Mishnah Brura and other poskim say you could learn when it's on Shabbos. The Birkei Yosef, the Chidah, the Yavit says that it's mutter. You have a machlokes if one can learn, not to learn the whole Shabbos, not to learn just after Chatzos, which means some tomorrow afternoon, or maybe it's even mutter. Ramosha, my father in the Sefer Darkei Moshe brings that from his Talmidim that Ramosha didn't learn from Chatzos, Ve'elach, tomorrow afternoon, not to learn. Oh, very good. The Divrei Yatzav says that if somebody gives a shear, not to be mavatal the shear, because then it's avelos b'far hesya. Very good. That's l'chayr what comes out. Even when a person gives a shear, it doesn't have to fully be avelos b'far hesya, because how the poskim say you could switch to a topic, that the topic will be what you're allowed to learn. Dvarim haram. The shaila is if you're allowed to. There's a shaila if you're allowed to learn Eicha Shabbos afternoon, but you could work it out that it shouldn't be available for hesya, but that you're right. If somebody gives a regular shear, a daf yomi shear, if you're going to be mevatel, it's not available for hesya. It's not so poshut.
Like for someone like Moshe, not to learn. I mean, I know what his schedule was. If there's a person who learns every Shabbos afternoon, he's a big person. It's also available for hesya.
So it didn't mean that instead he played chess. It means that he learned. No, he learned. I think it says clearly he already learned things that are in Yoni of Tisha B'Av. There's a lot that could be learned Tisha B'Av. The poskim even say, be machmer, don't learn, because there's a lot to learn. There's taka learn, the whole perik in Moyet Cotton you can learn, the sug of kamtza bakamtza, a lot you can learn. How to learn is a shaila also, don't learn to be it'll make you happy. There's a lot to learn. But other poskim say, it's very nice, but a person doesn't learn el mashaliba chafetz. So if you're going to start telling the person to learn eicha, he's not going to end up learning. But we're talking about the din about learning. Not to learn. Magen Avraham says not to learn the whole Shabbos. Poskim say not to learn from Chatzos, and others say you can learn the whole Shabbos. Just to clarify and understand, why is there an Isser to learn in general Erev Shabbos? I mean, in general Erev Tisha B'Av after Chatzos, but even more in particular, the Poskim asked the Chassam Sofer, the Bechor Shor, on Shabbos everything's mutter. Shabbos afternoon by Shalosh Shudas you could eat Gesuda Shleima B'Shat, you could eat meat. So why can you learn? That's clear Shulchan Aruch that a person could eat Basar V'Yayin tomorrow afternoon. So if you can eat Basar V'Yayin, why can't you learn Torah Shabbos afternoon? The Bechor Shor says a teretz that the reason why you can eat Basar on Shabbos is because he's a mitzvah of Einig. By a person not eating basar on Shabbos and he's refraining from Einig, it's oven biyadai. You're supposed to eat Shabbos. These are mitzvah of Einig. So therefore, Shabbos, even though it's the 9 days, even though it's Erev Tisha B'Av, even though it's Suda Mafsekes, Shal Shudas, it's mutter to eat basar because he's a mitzvah of Einig. And like he says, if you mevatel it, oven yesh biyadai. However, Torah is Pekud Hashem, it makes a person happy, simcha. There is no mitzvah of simcha on Shabbos. Yom Tov is a mitzvah of simcha. Shabbos there is no mitzvah. Therefore, says the Bechor Shor, learning is aser. Like we mentioned before, when it's aser, either the whole Shabbos after Chatzos, but the concept is the learning brings a person with a simcha. Simcha is aser.
How do you categorize between the difference of simcha and oneg?
Good shaila, the chiluk simcha and oinig. We'll leave it on the side for now. They have to know, even not for this week. Every week, Shabbos is a din Einig, Yom Tov is a din Simcha. We'll leave it on the side for now. A good point.
But for here, it says Ein Simcha El Bas V'Yayin. So the Bas V'Yayin is from Simcha and not Einig.
Could be you can accomplish both with Basar. Simcha and it's Einig. Yom Tov you have Basar also, but Shabbos you could accomplish it. It gives you Einig. Learning is Simcha. And Simcha, there's no heter. There's no heter. There's an isser, and therefore one cannot learn Shabbos afternoon. Yitzi, if you don't have it clear, I'm going to share with you a Chassam Sofer, an amazing pshat in the isser of learning Erev Tisha B'Av, even on a regular year. The Chassam Sofer explains, this is in Hachaim Sim Kuf Nun Vav, the Chassam Sofer says, why is it also to learn Erev Tisha B'Av? The Isser, the Avelis is on Tisha B'Av. What's Erev Tisha B'Av afternoon? Why is there an Isser to learn? Says the Chassam Sofer that when a person learns, it's not only the simcha of when he learns then, it gives him a simcha for the hours afterwards also. Therefore, when a person learns Erev Tisha B'Av in the afternoon, if he learns in the morning, so a few hours after, it carries on that simcha for the afternoon as well. However, when a person learns Tisha B'Av, Erev Tisha B'Av afternoon, it gives him a simcha for matzah for that night. So therefore, on regular year, even tomorrow on Shabbos, the Isser to learn is not mitzat Shabbos. Of course, nothing's noig on Shabbos. Basa v'yayin, mutter. Medin Shabbos, you would be allowed to learn. But what asks you to learn tomorrow afternoon is because Motzah Shabbos, you're not allowed to be besimcha. And if you're going to learn Shabbos afternoon, the simcha is going to carry over to Motzah Shabbos. Therefore, says the Chassam Sofer, he's the Isser to learn already Shabbos afternoon.
I would then argue on that if you're having Bas V'Yayin during Shabbos Shidduch, you get.
So you have it. We'll get to Bas V'Yayin shortly. Interesting. We'll speak to that.
Joel Eich's experience by like you down the bottle of wine, you're coming a little drunk. It's like it's part of the night, and you have a geisha. Like you can meet someone doing the verses in the Purim trip that night. It's.
We'll get to that about eating basa v'yayin in a minute. Hopefully, I want to get to that. That's a good yitzi. It's a good point when you bring how to balance it. We'll get to that momentarily.
And we say that eating, you have to prepare yourself for a fast also.
Yeah.
So you have to. It should be mutter to eat meat because you have to be ready for the fast. It's also shtickle mitzvah to be ready for the fast.
Yeah, but
so that wouldn't be enough because
you don't do that.
Oh, very good. On a regular year, not only that. Preparing for our fast, we eat a suda mafsekas, which is, bread and ashes and eggs.
If you do normal suda, then you eat...
Not with meat and wine,
Okay. Wine is
Meat also, even though you have to prepare. Erev Yom Kippur, one of the reasons that even atzad that it's the rice is taka, because the Torah wants that you should have koyach for Yom Kippur. So a person should definitely eat Erev Tisha B'Av every year. The person should have koyach to fast. You should be able to Hachaim what the Hachaim want. You should be able to have koyach on Tisha B'Av to be misabel. Just to be sick the whole Tisha B'Av, you're missing out. You have to, but basar, not with basar. This year it's mutter medin Shabbos, not also preparing for the fast. We'll get to the concept of Shabbos afternoon. Shal Shabbos, we'll get to it momentarily. So what do we have over here? We have Shabbos machlokes of dini avelos anoyik. Learning seemingly is a machlokes not to learn at all Shabbos from after Chatzos. Some poskim say that you could even learn after Chatzos. This Shabbos morning, you say Avar Rachman. However, you do not say Tzidkascha by Mincha. You say Avar Rachman is a Mishnah Berurah Siman Taf Kof Nun Beis. You've caught Lamed. Important to know. You say Avar Rachman. However, you don't say Tzidkascha. What's the difference? If Yom Tisha B'Av, which is Ikri Moyed, and therefore it's Moyed and you don't say Tzidkascha, you should not say Avar Rachman as well. Explains the Chassam Sofer. The Chassam Sofer says, with a different question, he asks, why Sunday we don't say Tachnan, a year like this year, we don't say Tachnan, why? Because Tisha B'Av is Ikri Moyed. So he asks, why don't we say Tachnan, Ikri Moyed? Shabbos is Tisha B'Av, is Ikri Moyed. What was pushed off the Sunday? Pushed off the Sunday was just the fast. But when is the Moyed? The Ikri Moyed, whatever the Hezber and the Moyed, there's a lot of different Shatem, but it's Ikri Moyed, it's Shabbos. So why this Sunday, why don't we say Tachnon? Says the Chassam Sofer, because the Moyed, not only is the fast pushed off, but actually the Moyed is also pushed off the Sunday. The Moyed is pushed off the Sunday. I think he even says a chiddush, even lost a love. It's also going to be pushed off. What is really going to be a moyed, it's also pushed off. But says the Chassam Sofer, it's pushed off the Sunday. Therefore, tomorrow morning Avar Rachman is really Erev the moyed in the morning. So you say Avar Rachman. However, it's at Kascha, like every Erev Yom Tov by Mincha, you do not say Tachnun. So therefore, you don't say Tzit Kascha. So tomorrow, yes, Avar Rachman, no Tzit Kascha. The El Yerabba says a different pshat, and he says tomorrow is the moyed, Ikri moyed. Tomorrow is the moyed. Why do we say Avar Rachman? So he says like this. What did you say?
You want Rachmanis?
We don't say a different Chodesh benching. It's kind of a bakasha. Yeah, we zicha want Rachmanis. Says the El Yerabba. I think it's a little different than what he's saying. He says is Tisha B'Av, which is Ikri Moyed, and we say Kinus all morning. So Avar Rachman is a Kina. So we say the Kina on the Ikri Moyed. In other words, the whole Moyed of Tisha B'Av can't say not to say Avar Rachman when it's the Moyed itself. We say Kinus. So Mamel we say Avar Rachman, we don't say Tzit Kascha. Another din that's applicable for this Shabbos is negeya to taking a walk. The Ramah says that a person should not be metayil Erev Tisha B'Av after Chatzos. Erev Tisha B'Av after Chatzos, just to put it in perspective, in a regular year, Tisha B'Av would be tonight, this afternoon. A person should not take a tiyul, a walk. You should not take a walk. What type of walk? So the Hagoyis Baruch Tam explains, because he has a kasha that on Tisha B'Av itself, it says the Lashon HaShulchan Aruch, Yesh mi sha'omer, not to take a walk on Tisha B'Av. Yesh mi sha'omer. And here it says even Erev Tisha B'Av, so it explains the Hagoyis Baruch Tam that these two types of walks. There's a walk, the Hagoyis Baruch Tam says there's a walk for Oinig that a person should not do already Erev Tisha B'Av. Erev Tisha B'Av in the afternoon, a person shouldn't take a walk, a Oinig walk. Walk, which means to say is an enjoyment, a nice walk. However, what's about a walk that a person would, so to speak, need? For an example, let's say a walk after food. He takes a walk, not because it's an enjoyable walk, but more a tzorech of a walk. That the Shulchan Aruch says on Tisha B'Av, yesh mi sha'omer, not to take even such a walk. So there's a difference between on Tisha B'Av and Erev Tisha B'Av. Erev Tisha B'Av, a person should refrain from taking an enjoyable walk. But on Tisha B'Av, even a not enjoyable and tzorech to go walk. So therefore, I'm just sharing the title to Dan about this Shabbos, which is really brought in the Shari Tshuva. He says that the whole Shabbos a person shouldn't take a walk. That's what the Shari Tshuva brings. Not B'tayras Vadai, this Shabbos. So therefore, what type of walk is he talking about? Is he talking about a walk, an enjoyable walk, or maybe he's even talking about a tzorech to go walk? Just bringing up the shaila. Maybe even a tzorech to go walk, a person who takes a walk after the meal to kind of just take a walk. Maybe it's a shaila, but that much to understand clearly, Erev Tisha B'Av not to take a walk, a teal, enjoyable walk. So l'chayr, the minimal is tomorrow afternoon after Chatzos not to take a leisure walk, a tzorech walk, maybe a shaila, but at least a leisure walk. That's the din of the Ramah, not to take a walk.
Enjoy it.
That's a mitzvah. Walking to shul. Walking to shul, so you get a schar to walk for walking to shul. Just to conclude with a few short pointers, I want to try it on the title of the shir. It said till Sunday Matzah Tisha B'Av. I'll try to, just bekitzer a few more important dinim, very bekitzer. Shalosh Shudas, we mentioned it a little bit before. Shalosh Shudas, the Shulchan Aruch says you're allowed to eat in Tav Kuf Nun Beis Sif Yud Oichlim Basar V'Shoisim Yayin. Obviously, the halacha is because you're not allowed to be noyeg avelis before Hesia. What's about a person like almost all of us do not eat fleishiks by Shalosh Shudas? I was once in Tosh for Shabbos, so by Shalosh Shudas they give out chicken fleishiks, but almost regularly people do not eat fleishiks by Shalosh Shudas. Says Rav Moshe Netshuva, Afal Pikein, it's mutter. It's mutter even if regularly you do not eat fleishiks. Tomorrow for Shalosh Shudas, you want to know what menu to prepare, Alex, to prepare for the tainis. You're allowed to, says Rav Moshe, you're allowed to prepare different fleishig dishes. It's mutter. He also says if a person who doesn't sing Zmiris regularly, he's allowed to. But just to mention, somebody mentioned before that what's about, so you could eat regular, drink wine, and then you're going to come at the Tisha B'Av drunk. The Magen Avram says, Yeshiv B'davei Nefesh. Now, which means a person should understand that we're going into Tisha B'Av. Of course, a person that sings Shalosh Shudas, he goes B'chavrai and Shul, he's allowed to, and if a person refrains, it's Avelos B'for Esya. But at the same note, to know with Kovid Roish, in other words, yes, if you drink Basa V'yayin, not to come into Tisha B'Av high. The idea is that Tisha B'Av by night, a person should be in tune for the Churban. As we mentioned before, even learning Shabbos afternoon, if it's going to be a Simcha by night, you should not do it. When a person eats milchiks by Shalosh Shudas, you have to make sure it's 6 hours or the amount of time you wait. This is just a pointer. And when you wait 6 hours, it doesn't have to be 6 hours from when you bench of the fleishiks the Suda in the morning, but when you finished eating the meat. It's a machlokes we paskin from when you finish. So let's say you finish the meal, you finished eating the cholent and meat at 1 o'clock, and then you have dessert until you finish just 2 o'clock, you start counting from 1 o'clock. I've gotten this shaila already a few times this week. What's about taking vitamins, kalei tzoim, caffeine pills on Shabbos? So technically there would be 2 shailas. One would be in Yonei Refuah, secondly would be a shaila b'negeya hachana. So refuah, there is no shaila of taking these vitamins, these kalei tzoim. Why? Refuah is if somebody's sick and takes a medicine, or even if somebody's healthy and takes certain vitamins, could also be a shaila of refuah. But that's only if the vitamin makes you healthier. That's a shaila of refuah b'Shabbos. Here, you're not taking it to make you healthier. It's either to just, you should be stocked up on caffeine, it absorbs your liquids, it keeps it in. It's just to keep you that you should be okay over the fast. Mitzad refuah, it's mutter. However, it's achana. You're taking the vitamin on Shabbos for Motzah Shabbos. It's really achana for after Shabbos. There are poskim that say that it's mutter gomer. There's many reasons why it's not achana. We'll leave it on the side for now. MMA, it's mutter. Reb Vosner seems to be a bit machmer over here and says rather a person should put it into food already before Shabbos. If a person could do that, it's good. If you forgot, yesh al mi lismach. There's a lot of poskim that say that it's not achana. MMA, you could take it shal shudis. You could take this kalei tzoim, this vitamin. Motzei Shabbos, before you do anything, you say Baruch HaMavdal. The fast starts by Shkia. You stop eating by Shkia. However, the Dinei Avelis for the fast, after whatever you hold is Motzei Shabbos, you stop then, and you take off your shoes. We're not going to go into the minhag that used to be with Baruch Hu, but now most places, they give you time after Motzei Shabbos to go to shul, a 20-minute in between, so you wait till whatever your time is Motzei Shabbos, you say Baruch HaMavdal, you put on your weekday clothing, you put on your Tisha B'Av slippers, Crocs, take off your shoes, bring your stool, your kinus, all these things you're not allowed to do on Shabbos to bring to shul. It's achana. The kinus actually could be if you learn from it. So that's Lagabe Motzei Shabbos. You do not say Vihi Noyam. Many different reasons, either because it speaks about building the Mishkan, and we're oisek now, Motzei Shabbos and Churban. Another reason is the Goyen says, because we say Maisi Yadeinu, you're not allowed to work on Erev, on Tisha B'Av, Ein Roya Siman Bracha. The Aruch HaShulchan says, Ein Roya, it's not Ne'imus, V'hinoyam, and Tisha B'Av is not a day of Ne'imus. Kedai to mention, the Bach says that we don't say the Pasuk V'ani Zois Berisi every single Motzei Shabbos, Atu this Motzei Shabbos. Every week of the year, Motzei Shabbos, we don't say V'ani Zois Berisi. What's V'ani Zois Berisi? That it's a bris with what? With a kinus. We don't want to make a bris with a kinus, so we don't say V'ani Zois Berisi. Says the Bach, we don't say it every single Motzei Shabbos of the year, Atu this week. So just interessant to remember, when you don't say it, you'll know it's this week, why we don't say it every other week. Boire Moire Ha'esh is said Motzei Shabbos. Havdalah is made Sunday night. Boire Moire Ha'esh is said Motzei Shabbos. One should say it best time to say it is after Ma'ariv, before Eicha. The Tas says the Pasuk, B'Chashak Shivani, and you should be in the Hanem and the Oir when you read Eicha. That's when you do it. For the wives, that's a shaila. You can ask when to do it, before or after. There's an extra kina that we say Motzei Shabbos. It also is based on Vihinoyam, that we don't have Vihinoyam. And one final din, Motzei Tisha B'Av, everything is mutter. It's already Leil, Yud, everything is mutter besides Basa V'Yayin. Everything else is mutter. Since this year the fast is a Nidcha, which means it really falls out Shabbos, not that it falls out Sunday, it falls out Shabbos and it's a Nidcha. There are different dinim that are more kal b'negeya, a woman that's pregnant, muberis, and yoledis, and somebody who eats on Tisha B'Av should ask a shaila b'negeya avdallah. These many different shitas, if to make, when to make, who to make. So you should ask a shaila. We should be zoicha be'ez Hashem that all these dinim should not be applicable, and we should be zoicha that it should take a yama me'ilu should be nepach l'sasan u'l'simcha. Have a wonderful Shabbos.